Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second webinar of the Food Factory for Us International Student Competition in Sustainable Cereals. Today is an exciting event. We will meet all of the student teams as at least one member of each team will give a 5-minute presentation about a practical experience that they had in the cereal chain.
Hello.
So here you see, how's my screen? Good?
Yes, good.
Okay, so here you see the program for today's webinar. It will be 1.5 hours. And I am Catherine Flynn, and you see my colleague Lene Lindner, and we give this short introduction. And we will also time you. You see the clock on the slide, and we will hold you strictly to 5 minutes so that we don't go over time in this webinar. Each team will have their 5-minute presentation, and if we have any questions, we hold them to the end, and then we can all turn on our webcam and microphone, and we can ask any questions we might have. So I ask you to hold your questions and give your attention to the team that is presenting, the slides they are showing, and their person as you see them on the webinar screen. A reminder, some small housekeeping, that you do have another assignment due, and this is to send by 30 of November, so in 10 days, to send 3 ideas for a topic that you would like to have covered by an expert relating to sustainable cereals. This can be anything from seed to marketing or anything in between. And each team, not each person, each team should submit 3 ideas by sending a Word file to the 4 emails that you see on the slide here. So please be sure to do that by 30 November. And then in January, we will have this webinar where the most popular topics will be presented by some experts chosen by the people organizing the advisory board of the competition. So please take care of that. I also remind you that we do have another webinar before the holiday break, and that is on 3 December at 11 a.m. Central European time. And this is the virtual visit webinar. And here we have several visits arranged to some interesting places in the cereal chain. And these will be videos that will be available on YouTube, on the ISEKI-Food YouTube channel. So make sure you have access to YouTube. And during the webinar, we will all watch the videos independently at our computer screen. And we will have the experts who have their visit on hand, some of them at least, to answer your questions and discuss with you. And this webinar will be followed by a reflection session. And I'll tell you about it at the date. But this reflection session is best if we have at least 2 team members and they are at a single computer during this virtual visit webinar. So please try and organize at least 2 team members at the same computer. And you see at the bottom of the slide the typical registration procedure to participate in the virtual visit. Now it is 11:05 and we are ready to start the student presentations. And I have the clock right here. So I'll be timing the 5 minutes for each presentation. And as always, this webinar is being recorded and it will be available on the YouTube site. And this is really useful to watch yourself present. And I think all of us can learn a lot on how to improve our presentations by taking advantage of the recording. And I also ask you, as in the previous webinar and in all to follow, that you please fill out the survey that you get about the webinar. It's 3 or 4 short questions, and this helps us to improve the future Food Factory for Us competitions. So with that, I ask if there is someone from the Morawa team.
Yes, they are here.
Okay,
so I think before we start, I think it would be nice if all the presenters can turn on their camera so we can see
good.
everyone. There should be 13 teams today. Great.
Yeah, nice. So I will stop sharing my screen. Oh, hi, everybody.
Good to see you.
Yeah, that's really nice to see people.
The rest of the teams, can you also turn on your... You can keep yourself muted, please, but try to turn on your cameras. It's
Actually,
Yes?
it says that a webcam limit is reached, so I can't share my webcam.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So maybe the ones who have their cameras on, you can turn it off again, and then maybe we can see the others.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. There also, we cannot turn all of them on. We are also learning. Hi. Good.
Great.
Okay.
All right. So I think then you can turn off your cameras again, and then we will start with the first presenter. That is the Morava team. So Guillaume, you can turn on your camera, and
Kalyan, can you turn your camera off?
I'm turning my webcam, but that doesn't work, so I don't know.
It doesn't work?
Like it's waiting, so I don't know.
Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Yeah.
I think that's good. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Great,
good.
yes. Now we see you. Okay, so I will make you presenter, Guillaume. And
up. So up.
Great. All right, so please go ahead and start.
So hello everybody, my name is Guillaume Thueux and I'm a French student in food technology at Wageningen University and Research in Netherlands. So I'm here to represent the team Morama, a lost group from Africa. And if I need to explain you an experience in the cereal chain, I will describe you my internship in a cow farm 2 years ago. So I did this internship in collaboration with my school in France, the Pure Engineering School in Toulouse. And I did this internship to gain experience working with farmers. So I worked 4 months in a farm as an agricultural technician in the southwest of France, in the region called Gers, near Toulouse. And so yeah, that's I plotted on the map, and that's a small picture of Auch, the big city close to the farm. During this internship, my role was to help the farmers in his daily basis. It was a cow farm, so mainly my occupation was to take care of the cow and the calves. The race was Blonde d'Aquitaine, a special race of that place in France. So every day my role was to feed the cows and look after the calves. And also my work was to work in the fields, in the cereal fields. So mainly I mowed the meadows and I took care of the cereal fields. So for that, after the harvesting, I touched and plowed with a tractor all the fields to help the implantations of the next culture. The cereal cultive in the farm has to purpose to feed the animals. That was the only purpose. So it was mainly triticale, which is a human-made cereal were used to feed the animals. That cereal is made of yield, of a cross between yield, wheat and rye. Human made this cereal to have the resistance of rye and the yield of wheat. I'm sorry. We use that plant to lower the cost and reducing the risk of loss in the yields. But the use of those types of plants has been promoted for decades and have a lot of problems. We all know the fusariose, which is a big disease. It's a fungus who touch every pore it says, like wheat or triticale, and maybe a comeback to ancient and old varieties in the response to that disease. Also, new varieties are a big loss for biodiversity. So if I tell you what I gained with this experience is first to understand the real work of farmers, and that's a good way to work with them in the future, and also to understand the relation between cereals and cows, which is really important because then the main that how they get the energy is that the main fact. With grass doesn't give them the energy, so cereals are really important in the agriculture, and not only for plants but also for animals. That's that.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank
We're
you.
on time. Okay. Okay, great. So we go to the next.
Yes, then we go to Ukraine, to Victoria from the SPELL team. I will make you presenter, Victoria.
Good.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, we see your screen. Great.
Great, perfect.
Very good. Go ahead.
Hello again. This is SPELL team from Ukraine. Let's start. My name is Victoria. I'm a student of Odessa National Academy of Food Technologies in Odessa, Ukraine. In May 2019, I received a bachelor's degree in food technologies and then continued studying for receiving a master's degree in bread, confectionery, pasta, and food concentrates technology. During education, I gained practical experience at the leading Ukrainian food companies, such as Elmit Right Limited, in February 2019 in Odessa, Ukraine, and Kievsky BKK Limited in August 2018 as an intern. As an intern, I studied the quality control process of raw materials and finished products and final products. Sorry. Studied the quality control process of raw materials, semi-finished and final products, organized the main stages of pastry production, such as cakes and muffins, helped to improve existing recipes and to provide strict hygiene food safety standards. Due to my internship, I gained such hard skills as recipe calculation, quality control of raw materials, semi-finished and finished products, the ability to organize stages of technological products, and developing new food products and prototypes. And also such soft skills as flexibility, conflict resolution skills, stress management skills, and collaborative skills. As a bachelor student, I was involved in scientific projects, which was about alternative flour usage, such as rice flour, sesame flour, and green buckwheat flour in cake technology. The aim of this project was to study the influence of alternative grain flour on the cake's quality. Due to this, my tasks were to analyze the influence of alternative types of flour on cake's dough rheological characteristics and its moisture content. Also, changes of cake's physicochemical characteristics, such as moisture content, crumb hardness, specific volume, and porosity, were investigated. Due my scientific researches, I gained hard skills as work with laboratory equipment, knowledge of methods for quality control of new types of raw materials, knowledge of methods for determining the quality of semi-finished products and finished products, and also soft skills such as self-discipline, analytical thinking, networking, innovation-oriented problem solving, and so on. So that's it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Thank you. Okay, so you were also in time. Very good. Then we move to France, to the Invincibles. I'll make you presenter. You can share your camera.
Just a second, please.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we see your screen.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Sagar Yadav. I am a master student at KU Leuven, and I'm here representing the team Invincibles. So my experience in the cereal chain is more of a consolidated experience starting from the farmlands. So I had the opportunity to experience the processing and the growing and various aspects of a chain real time. So for starters, I have my own farmlands on which we cultivate wheat, finger millets, pearl millets, and sorghum and other things. And then during my bachelor's and master's, I had the experience to go to universities where I had some more hands-on training and experience that how would you process the cereals. And then during my working, I was working as a product development executive where I was developing products for consumers in a more real-time basis. So just a quick overview on the farms. My basic duties were to do the crop management, starting from sowing the field, preparing the field, then sowing seeds in a pattern. And we used to grow leguminous plants like Bengal grams or peanuts alongside the main crop, that was millets, to increase the nitrogen fixation, then to have proper irrigation techniques and proper harvesting times and proper harvesting stages of the wheat itself. For example, we would leave the bottom part of the wheat, let it be for grazing for the farm animals. Then in university, my experience was more focused on the analytical aspects, or to make small pilot scale trials of changing those millets or wheat to different products. For example, I had the experience of making cookies, breads, batters, different fruits blend, different cereal blends, and then we had some industrial visits in a lot of processing companies where we kind of had a training or an overview that how would these grains be processed in industries and how would they be prepared for the consumer use. Then we did some new projects which were focused on a more healthy trend in the world. For example, we were making some breads with or without gluten, so we're adding some starches, or we're doing some vegan products for the generalized bakery products. Then during my experience in the company, I was developing products based on cereals, and we were extruding breakfast snacks or chips or sheet snacks or puff, that I was called in Europe, out of rice flour, gram flour, pea flour, ragi flour, and then we would also you do some other topical applications using cereals. For example, we'll be adding wheat flour or ragi flour into some seasonings that we would use later on the product. And one lesson that I learned from the industry while working there was that if you have really good raw material in hand, then everything goes really smoothly. So if you have really good control over the quality of the raw material, then you have a really good control over the whole processing line, starting from the way you pick your grain till the way you present it to the consumer at the supermarket. The skills that I gained would be mostly how to properly handle and nurture the grain itself to get its maximum yield, not in terms of the quantity, but also in terms of the quality in the field itself. Then good industrial know-how, that how do you make the product, or how do you transform a grain to different products which suit to your requirement. Then the time management, because it really takes a patience and skill to produce even the grain and the products as well. And then I had some more hands-on experiences to do more scientific ways to get more healthy products so that we can keep with the pace of changing world. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was really good.
Thank you. Good. Then we move on to the Netherlands, to the Angreeders, if I pronounce it correctly.
It is.
Yeah, the ancient grain bread makers.
Bread makers, yeah.
Good.
Okay, yep.
Can you share your screen? Yes, great.
Yeah, I'm just opening it.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, I start the 5 minutes.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we see it very well. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just start. Good morning, everyone. I am Divjot Singh. I am from India, and I'm studying as a master's student in Wageningen University, Netherlands. Today, I'm going to present my experience of a visit that I did in a wheat milling plant, and I'm representing the team Engraders, as Catherine said. As you can see, my experience was back in India. The visit happened while I was working with Nestle in India, and I went to a wheat milling plant, which was our wheat flour supplier, and I had to see the overview of the wheat milling process. This is the basic overview of the process that is there during wheat milling. The wheat kernels come, and first of all, the dehulling takes place, in which the husk is removed. After that, during the wheat cleaning of the kernels, the chaff and the stalk are removed, and after that we do the conditioning, in which the wheat kernels have a optimum moisture content, and so that we get the optimum color of the wheat flour. After that, the breaking happens, in which we get the bran and the germ, and during the sieving, the bran gets separated from the germ, and the germ gets in the process, and during reducing, the germ gets reduced in size, and we and after that, sieving takes place, in which we get different sizes of the flour, and the final step is grinding, in which the small lumps of semolina are broken, and we get the final wheat flour that we want to obtain. So these are the machinery that I saw in the plant.
I think we lost
the
Ingrid.
connection. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was me or if it was him.
Me too. Yeah, it says they are offline.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we then have to move on to the next team, and we can try again with Angreeders.
Yeah, let's do that.
So the team from Italy, Miqui, are you? Oh, can you start your presentation then instead?
Yes, hello, good morning.
No, I think it's not your turn yet, Paula. It's
oh, I'm sorry.
It's
you can go now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just wait a second. If you can turn off your camera and again, and yeah. So I will make Jorge presenter. You have to turn on your microphone too, please. Jorge, you have to turn on your microphone. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, your microphone is muted by you, Jorge, do you see the microphone mute button?
We cannot hear you.
Can you listen to us now?
Yes, now it's good.
Okay.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah.
And we see your screen.
You were muting us.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Good.
So
Please go ahead then.
Can you see the screen now?
okay, wait. There.
Is our right? Hello?
A very bad connection.
No. Can you listen to us?
Yes, we can hear you, but we don't see you now. There's a black screen. But that's okay, as long as we can hear you.
Wait. Now?
No, we don't see you. We see your screen and we can hear you.
But you see the screen?
Yes. So I think you should just start your presentation.
Okay, so we can start the presentation at least.
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll be presenting on behalf of my team. My name is Tushar, and we are currently pursuing our master's degree in food innovation and product design, and it's a team MICWE. So I would like to share my cereal experience. I belong to a agrarist family, and we mostly grow cereal crops in our farm, like wheat, barley, rye, and many other such crops. I was closely involved in the activity of farming, like cultivation, harvesting, irrigation, and the marketing of the cereals since as a teenager, and I have seen closely the activities. So that was like one kind of experience for me. The other experience was like I have also worked on the optimization of the parameters during the milling process to reduce the waste generation during milling, and also the byproduct utilization of these products. Because we also have a small mill at home, and so I got the chance to work on this as well in the spare time which I had. I also attended a short sensory evaluation course, which was mostly focused on to study the different parameters, or to study the different results of how the blending of the flour affects the sensory part of it. So that was also one of the experience I had. I was also a part of a consumer behavior study where I got a chance to understand the acceptability of the wheatgrass juice, and also to interact with the consumers and know the expectations which they have from cereals as juice. So that was also one of the interesting experience. And we have a small startup at home where we develop the traditional products which are based on cereals like wheat, rice, rye, and barley. So whenever I used to be at home, so I used to contribute my food technology knowledge and product development knowledge in this business, and always try to develop like new products, and to know the customer opinion about it. So that was also one of the like good experience I had. And I was also involved in the activities of Anganwadi. So Anganwadi is like a rural child care center in India, which aims to fight against the malnutrition. So I got a chance to work there to develop the cereal bars and help them basically in this development, and to optimize the process and the ingredient and the recipe. So that was also one of the experience. And I had one more experience which was regarding the bakery product development, which was very recent when we were working on a project for a company. So which was to reduce to make the make the product more nutritional. I can't explain exactly due to confidentiality reasons, but it was to make it more nutritional by reducing the butter content of the product. So that was also one of the experience. So I feel I had like a farm to fork experience in cereals. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great.
We could
Thank
see you towards the end, so that was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Okay, then I think we will return to eng readers.
They are back.
Yeah. Can you, yeah, great.
Okay.
I don't know what just happened before.
Yeah. I
That
guess
happens.
the connection was lost somehow.
Yeah.
Do you want to
So
start?
I just have one question. I just have one question before presenting. During my presentation, are you able to see me during my while I present?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you can just give me the show my screen. Or
yes, exactly.
It's already there.
No,
Okay.
you should see it now.
It's there now.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going on behalf of my team, the Engraders. I'm going to present my experience of a visit to a wheat milling plant. As you can see, my my visit happened back in India while I was working with Nestle. I went to a wheat milling plant, which was our wheat flour supplier, and I had an overview there of the wheat milling process. This is the basic overview, as you can see, of the wheat milling process, in which the wheat kernels come and the dehulling of the wheat kernels take place, in which the husk is removed. During the wheat cleaning, the chaff and the stalk is removed from the wheat kernels. And in the conditioning aspect, we condition the wheat kernels to an optimum moisture content so that we get the color that we require, that is white of the wheat flour. And then the breaking happens, in which the bran and the germ is formed. And after that, during the sieving, the bran is get separated from the germ. And in the reducing and the sieving process that happens afterwards, the germ gets reduced in the size, and in the sieving we get different intermediate products. And after that, the grinding of the small lumps of the semolina takes place, which gives us the final wheat flour. This is the advanced machinery that they use in the process. The dehulling machine, as I said, removes the husk from the wheat kernel, and then the pneumatic flour mill is used in the breaking and the grinding aspect. The square plant sifter is a very nice machine. It's closed from all sides, but yeah, we get different intermediate products at every step of this plant sifter. And then the purification of the small lumps of the semolina happens, and from which we finally get the white wheat flour that we want to obtain. I got some really good insights during my visit. First of all, there was a zero waste attitude that was there in the plant. Every byproduct was sent to like for further processing, and so that we get a value out of it. And there was a strive of continuous improvement that really astonished me, that was there among the manpower. The whole process was automatic, so there was very less labor involvement. And as I said, the advanced machinery which was used from the world leaders enhanced the efficiency of the plant. And back in India, normally the good manufacturing practices and the food safety systems are not applied really properly. But in this plant, they had a very good aspect of the good manufacturing practices, as well as the HACCP system. So I hope you liked my experience of the plant, and thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very good.
All right, then we continue to Paula from the Serial Killers. I'll make you present, and you can turn on your camera, and yeah. Great, we see you. Okay, you just share your screen.
Yeah. Great. Good morning, everyone. Unfortunately, none of us in our team has worked before in a cereal industry factory, but all of us have had a experience visiting an cereal industry, and we came into the conclusion that all of them, even though they're from different countries, one from Greece, one from Lebanon, and one from Guatemala, they are pretty much the same procedure. So hope you like this brief explanation of what we could get together. We're gonna talk about the industrial visits made in Guatemala, which was to Molinos Modernos. It is part of a huge enterprise, which is called the Multi-Investment Corporation. And the interesting fact that we learned, it was the main step that our friend briefly summarized, but here again: harvest, storage, drying, aeration process, cleaning, conditioning, grinding, enrichment, and packaging. What we really liked about this type of industry was that everything was very automatic, and therefore there were not many people involved into the process. And the layout of the production line was vertical because of the machinery, the cyclones, and like the way it was structured for the line to have a better efficiency. And after the harvest and the conditioning of the raw materials, they had 4 products, which was flour, semolina, that they use for making of pasta, then reduced semolina, which is a smaller size semolina, and bran, which they could use into different byproducts or just use it as animal food. The products that this company made were a lot, actually. They didn't waste anything. So we really liked about this. And among the ones that it was very interesting was the type of wheat flour, depending on the protein content, and also the sauces that they made out of the the corn maize and the flour of the maize, because it's a very good thickener. And well, thank you very much. That was a very brief presentation since we're behind time, but I hope you really liked the experience.
Thank you. That was really interesting. Is that Paula who made the presentation?
Yeah, I'm sorry?
Are you Paula?
She's Paula and I'm Alejandra. I was the one supposed to be on my computer, but I had a problem.
That's fine. Just was wondering. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. So then we move to the next team, Atlay. I'll make you presenter, Lucas. You can. Yes, great.
So,
we see your screen.
Okay.
So, hello everyone. Firstly, I'm presenting today in behalf of the team Atlay. And first I would like to introduce you the whole team so that you cannot see just me today. So the team is like me, Lucas from Italy, Navapan from Thailand, Roxanne from Philippines. She's also here today with me. Say hi.
Hi.
Nalaputi from Indonesia, and with our supervisor Carla, also from the Philippines. And we all are studying food innovation and product design. And we basically figured out also during that we have discussed a little bit who should present it. All of us has different experience in the grain industry or bakery or something related to grains. And I'm presenting you today what I did actually during my bachelor. During my bachelor's, it was like 2 years ago that I did an internship in a company called Dr. Scheer, which is a company that is focused on producing products for people with special nutritional needs. And it was like a collaboration project between the company and my university, at that time, the Management Center Innsbruck. And I wrote my bachelor thesis also. My bachelor thesis was around influence of simulated errors on gluten-free bread. So basically, I was located in the quality management, quality assurance department, and like was working there, and also made some simulations of how the different changes in a recipe could change any parameters in the quality, from the quality aspect, as well as I get to know there like how actually the whole flour quality is measured, and like what needed to be focused on in that company. The focus was, of course, mainly on the gluten content of the different products that came in. And like, due to confidentiality reasons, I cannot give you a totally insight what I did, or like what were the outcomes or what I learned there. But basically, I got a good overview on how the different flours can affect the dough and also the finished product in the end. If, for example, if I used flour B instead of flour A, there was a huge color change. And also, if you use different fractions of an ingredient, you saw more holes in the bread. And also, if you decrease or increase the amount of an ingredient, it has had a lot of impact on the dough behavior. And the whole project was about like to see how it behaves in a how the ingredients in different flours behave when they're mixed together and form this gluten-free bread, because it's like totally different if you have a bread with gluten and a bread without gluten. So that made the whole change. And like I learned a lot of like how to work, a lot of hard skills, like which analyses are being done, and also like how do I need to write these reports for that people, write the reports for the other people. But also, if you think about soft skills, like how to look into the factory, how to engage with the different people in the different departments, and how to go along and to ask for your things, and also the analytical skills, like how are you organizing the experiment, like what do you need to plan in advance, because there's always some, like making bread takes always some time, so you need really to plan it a day before, that you have today enough time to do it, and so on. And yeah, and that was my short presentation, and thank you very much for listening to me, and have a nice day.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, then we move again to the Netherlands, to the team Millet Revivers.
Sorry, that was the 5 minutes. Okay.
Hi.
Hello everyone. Am I visible?
Hi. Yes, we see you, we hear you, and we see your screen also.
Okay.
Okay.
Shall I start?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kalyan, and I'm from India. Currently, I'm pursuing my master's from Wageningen University and Research in food technology, and I'm representing the group Millet Revivers. So today, I'm going to share my experience, my internship experience in Bor Malt Malting India Private Limited. Okay, so The industry in which I worked was Borman Malting. As its name suggests, it was a malting company. It was back in India, and the products were malt and malt extract, and the raw materials which was used was barley. So my entire internship was divided into two basic parts. One was in the malt production, and the other was in my project that was in refrigeration system. So I was working in the malt production team. The industrial project which was given to me was to calculate the refrigeration efficiency and to provide suggestions for the performance optimization. I did this internship almost 4 years ago. So Baumalt is one of the largest suppliers and manufacturer of malt extract in India. As you all know, malt is used for brewing, distilling in confectionery and in malter industries. So the various areas of exposure I attained during the internship was malt production, the quality control of raw material and the finished goods, the supply chain of the raw materials and finished goods, and of course regarding my project, that is refrigeration system. So a brief about whatever I learned. So malting is the process of converting either barley or any other cereals into malt that makes it suitable for brewing, distillating, or for any other purpose. And it is basically done on a malting floor. There are three basic steps done in malting. First is steeping, followed by germination, and then by kilning. The main aim of malting is to germinate the grain for a brief period of time in order to induce all the hydrolytic enzymes, which can later be used for brewing or distillating, and then suddenly stopping the growth of the grain by kiln drying. So I have a detailed flowchart of malting. First, there was reception of raw barley, which then went to the quality inspection. There we took care of the moisture content, the size, the smell, the appearance, and if there is presence of any insects. If the quality is good, then we stored the malt in our various storage tanks. Then we went for steeping. Steeping is basically washing the grain to increase the moisture content. The steeping is done in two steps. One is flat bottom, one is conical. The flat bottom one is done for almost 3 days, so as the moisture content increases to 30 to 36%. Then steeping is followed by germination. Germination is done at a lower temperature. It allows the enzymes such as the beta-glucanase, alpha amylase, and beta amylase to start their activity of breaking down the complex starch into smaller units of polysaccharides. Then after germination of 4 days, the entire process of germination was stopped by drying it in a kiln dryer, and then it was kept for storage and then packed and sent to the customers. So the various enzymatic activities that was happening was that of beta glucanase, where the beta glucanase breaks the beta linkages between the cellulose molecules, and which allows the starch to come out of the cell wall. Alpha amylase and beta amylase, they broke down amylose and amylose into smaller units of glucose, which could be used by yeast for brewing during fermentation for beers. And proteinases is another enzyme which breaks the proteins into smaller units of amino acids and smaller proteins, which was used for giving flavor in beer. This is a brief about the project that I was given. So as the title suggests, it's the refrigeration efficiency calculation and performance optimization. So the objective of this was to calculate the efficiency of the system. It was basically an engineering project. And after the calculation of the efficiency, I had to suggest various ways to improve the performance. So I had to study the entire refrigeration line minutely, and I had to use the techniques that were given by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, how to improve the performance. So I had to use all the thermodynamics and engineering calculations to carry out various efficiencies like thermal efficiency, electrical efficiency, the coefficient of performance. And finally, I had to give a suggestion how to improve the performance. So I had to plot everything in the pressure enthalpy graph, and based on that, I came up with a concept called subcooling effect, which helped us to make a which improved the electrical efficiency by 3.2% and had a good contribution to the cost. So basically, if I sum it up, I had a good exposure to the entire operations of malting and how the refrigeration system works in a malting farm. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Good. So then we continue to buckwheat synergy. Board, I'll make you a presenter.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
You have, okay.
Great.
We see your screen, but I don't think we hear you. You're muted.
All right. Do you hear me?
Yes, now we hear you. Thank you.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
All right. So in the summer of 2018, I got some experience through actually a student project, which was called Academics for Development. So I went to Peru for a project aimed at reducing the overall cost of a farm. So it was in a dairy farm, reducing the fuel and wood burning dependency and increase the economic stability of a farm in the Andes of Peru. So basically, we're developing biogas. But this is the side project. We were also doing some visits of factory and of the fields, and especially quinoa fields. So in Ayacucho, in this region of Peru, it represents, quinoa represents 25% of all the quinoa that is produced in Peru. So we were working with this NGO called Solid Food Peru, and they're basically training agriculturers to produce organic quinoa and also develop forgotten grains such as kiwicha and tarwi. So basically, quinoa is super important in Peru because like the demand for quinoa has grown like really big since the 21st century, and it's considered as a pseudo cereal. So it's really nutritious and could have a big role for feeding the world population because it requires low water, has a high amount of good protein fibers, and it has a small disease pressure and is very stress resistant. Because this region in Peru, it's basically undergoing a lot of changes because of climate change. So regarding rainfall and water and all these kind of things, it's really changing a lot. So I visited the factory, which is called Wari Organic, and they basically gather all of the quinoa from 500 farmers from all around the region of Ayacucho. And they basically have the whole steps of cleaning and packaging the quinoa. The solid food export in total 2,000 tons. So it's a lot of quinoa. So basically the process flow for quinoa, it's first you have to remove the chaff of the raw quinoa because this consists of a lot of saponins and affects the taste. Then you have the washing step, the sorting of the quinoa by seed sides, and also removing of the stones because like there's different sizes of quinoa and they have different quality, different consumer appreciation. So the big seeds, they are more appreciated and they are sold at a higher price. Then you have also the sorting of the quinoa by color using an optical scanner. And then using a magnetic sorter, you can further remove all of the stones and the dust. And then there's the packaging, of course, of the quinoa. So during this experience, I learned a lot about climate change and how it affects crops and how quinoa could be a good solution for farmers in this region, and that it's important for the Peruvian economy. So I also learned a lot about the processing of the quinoa, and yeah, that's my presentation. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Good. Then we move to Greece, to Greyland. Thomas. Hi.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay.
And we see your presentation. Very good.
Okay, so let me begin. My name is Thomas Karatasos. Our team name is called Greyland. My team members are Elena Giliki and Thomas. We are from Agricultural University of Athens. We are master students there. And today I'm going to present the characterization of Greek durum wheat as subject topic. This was the experiment of the other Thomas, but he couldn't be here because he's working, so I'm going to present instead. First of all, the aim of the study was to find about the variants of the different land races of durum wheat and if they adjust better in the Greek environment. So here you can see a picture of our university field where the wheat was planted. It was sowed in December 2018 and harvested in June 2019. In specific, 20 genotypes were used of wheat per plot of modern cultivars, old land races, and commercial varieties. 3 plots per genotype, 20 plants per genotype. In total, 1,200 wheat plants were used. After the harvest, data was collected from every plant, such as plant height, plant weight, seed weight, number of fertile spikelets per spike, and many more. In the picture, you can see that the wheat in the middle, the variety of the wheat in the middle, has a smaller biological cycle compared to the ones on the left and the right. And on the right picture, you can see the labeling of the different wheat varieties. As well, the knowledge and skills that were gained after this master thesis experiment. First of all, how to install an experimental field and all the work that has to be put in there, and especially how to install and work in a field that has wheat. Furthermore, knowledge about pasta wheat, morphology, color, gluten content, etc., especially from the local varieties and old land races. On the picture on the left, you can see the different color of the wheat leaves, and on the right, you can see color and morphology of the seeds. These were characteristics as well as the ones before with plant height, plant weight, etc., that were used to categorize the wheat with the UPOF database. Lastly, conclusions. First conclusion was that the Greek varieties are more adjustable to the Greek environment. So the other conclusion is that it's very important to maintain these varieties, especially because of the climate change, where temperature is hotter and hotter and more droughts occur. So it's very important to keep these genotypes of wheat that are more adjustable to this weather. As well as it's very important to maintain these varieties for sustainable supply chain, as they have fewer needs, and in the specific environment of each of their country, they are more productive than commercial varieties. Not all of them, at least these ones. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Then the next turn is the breadwinners from France. Chanel, I will make you presenter. Can you hear us, Chanel?
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Can you turn on your webcam?
Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen, yes.
Working on it. There
Okay,
we go.
good.
Great.
Excellent.
Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Thank
you. So my presentation is about using ancient grains in crackers for a brand in the US called Vea. So I was working as a consultant in Boston, and we had a client who wanted to make, which was, to be honest, a lot of our clients. And one of the products that we worked on for them was World Crisps. So these were crackers that were based on cooked whole grains.
And so part of the innovation here was that we weren't just taking flours of grains, we were actually taking, starting with whole grains, bringing them in, cooking them in the factory, and then adding those into the dough itself. And so this gave a lot of visual impact, especially this was one of my favorites, using red quinoa. So we had visual contrast there, as well as textural contrast. And then in addition, it really gave people the impression that we were really using unprocessed foods. These were just whole grains that we were adding into the crackers. And then in addition, the flavors of the crackers corresponded to the grains that we were using. So quinoa had cilantro and spice flavors, and the Italian, or the barley cracker used Italian flavors. So this did introduce a lot of challenges into the process. So we obviously had to cook the grains, but it was very important to get the cooking exactly right. If they were undercooked, they would stick in the rollers and they would cause the rest of the dough to tear. But if they were overcooked, they would be totally flattened and we would lose all of our visual and textural contrast. In addition, we had to get the grain pieces to fully dry in the final crackers for safety reasons, obviously for microbiology, but then also we had problems with the grains becoming really hard. This was especially a problem with rice. We tried to use rice in one of our varieties, and the starch retrogradation that happened in the rice just made it very, very impossible for that one to move forward. Another challenge here was the sourcing. So this was a new supply chain, and it was so we had to find suppliers for these new ingredients, and then also work with, in some cases, like the quinoa, smaller suppliers. And so that was a challenge, mostly for the company. I wasn't very involved in that part of it. And then finally, acceptability for the consumers, making sure that this was a new product. It was something that they were enjoying and responding to. And for the most part, we did have positive consumer responses. So I took a couple of lessons away from this. The first one was really positive. I think at the beginning, I was not sure that we were going to make this actually happen. So this was a really big company, very resistant to change, and we actually produced crackers that brought in and cooked quinoa on their lines. So that took a lot of buy-in from everyone in the company, both R&D and marketing, as well as people higher up making decisions. But the company was excited to do it, and the consumers were excited about it as well. And so that was really, really great for me to see. And then also definitely taught me a lot about understanding my ingredients. So for example, why is quinoa functioning so differently than rice here? And what are the elements of that are important, and if there's anything we can do to change it. So for example, with the rice, there's some pre-processed, like pre-cooked and puffed rice that we also tried in a similar product. And so because we had treated it differently, we ended up with a different final result. And so because we understood what the problem was, we could go back to the source of it and find a solution. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, then we go to the next team, Quinoa Pack. Can you turn on your camera, Maria?
Yes, I am currently doing. Just give me a second.
No problem.
I am
You should
sorry.
also be able to share your screen, Maria.
Yeah, I'm going to.
I see that you are connected twice, both as presenter and as panelist. So maybe.
Yeah, okay. I'll
Yeah,
try
you
and
see.
make you presenter with the other one.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you?
So now I can.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, now we can see you and your screen. Excellent.
This is my screen.
Yeah.
So sorry for the inconvenience, but I am here to represent my team, Quinoa Pack. This is my team. We are confirmed by Eduardo Liza. He's from Peru. His experience with grains is in a brewery he worked. Then we have Imote Sotianco. She's from the Philippines. She worked with pasta and she worked also with packaging of sunflowers. Then we have Lucas Metsomo from Brazil. He worked in a bakery back in Brazil. And we have Dr. Sandra as our tutor. She's an expert on packaging, especially on biodegradable packaging. And I am Maria Rene Barrios. I am from Guatemala, and my experience with the cereals is especially at the last process of wheat, which is the bakery. I worked in a Guatemalan bakery called San Martin. It's the biggest bakery in Guatemala. They currently have 40 branch offices in the country, 8 in El Salvador, which is near to Guatemala. And in January from this year, they opened the first branch office in USA. So we produced everything in the pilot plant of Guatemala, and then we export to the different countries. I worked there from December 2017 to July 2019. And I had 2 positions here. The first one was in the production department, and the second one was in the research and development department. So I'm going to talk about both of them. The first one it was on the bakery production department, and what I did was I was responsible of the organization of the daily, weekly, and monthly production plan. And because this was a very artisanal bakery, I was in charge of 60 bakers in total. And from this experience, I learned a lot about the production flow of frozen and baked products, because this company has both of them. So depending on the final use, and we also had pre-baked products for the consumer to finish in their house. So based on the properties of each product, I organized the production plan to make it more clean and more efficient. And the second experience I had, it was on the research and development department. And here the department was divided in 3. The bakery part, the pastry part, and the kitchen. I was the responsible of the pastry area. And here I had 2 responsibilities. The first one was going from a prototype delivered by a chef, and I escalated them to large-scale production. So here we had there's always problems when you go from the laboratory to the mass production. So my experience here was on troubleshooting of physical stability of the products, productivity during the mass production, transportation, logistics, and shelf life. What I did was basically modifying the formulation to accomplish the best option for the product. And the second task in this position was making the products that already existed, making them better, regarding the aspects that I previously mentioned. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So now we went through all of the 12 teams. There was one team that could not make it today, and one team could only come at 12:25. So I suggest we take the questions now, and we'll see if they arrive. And if you can stay, you're welcome to stay. We will definitely leave the webinar open. If you cannot stay, we completely understand that also.
Yeah, this is the AMA Millet team. Yeah.
Right.
Right, so there is no one here now from this team. Okay. So why don't we invite everyone to turn their webcam on? Oh. And we can open the floor also to the attendees. We have several attendees, some from the advisory board and some others. This webinar is open to the public. And so if you are an attendee, then you can raise your hand or type a question in, and we can open your microphone or read your question. And so we invite now questions from anyone.
Also, if you were a presenter, you're welcome to ask the other team's questions.
Okay.
You can just raise your hand or open your microphone for the...
I have a hand up. This is Winky Sue. Let me open the microphone.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, so I was wondering how we should present our ideas. And sorry. Oh yeah. I was like wondering how to present our idea for the next assignment, because I saw like in the beginning you mentioned something about 3 ideas. So we're like wondering how to do that.
Yeah, you should send an email. There are 4 email addresses, and you should send an email of your 3 ideas to those 4 email addresses.
Okay, so we have to explain those ideas, or we just name them?
You just name them.
Okay, just name them. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? I had a question about for one of the presenters, and it was the quinoa group, and I don't remember who it was. Who is the person who gave the presentation on the quinoa in Peru?
I think it was the breadwinners team, no? Chanel?
Was it Chanel? No. Chanel gave the presentation about the crackers.
I think the quinoa was Maud.
Maud, yes, who went to Peru. Yeah, Maud, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Maud.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you about the washing step.
Yes.
I was interested as a consumer in the washing step of the quinoa, because unlike other grains that we cook here, and we cook many, the quinoa is the one that we find that we have to wash it home before the cooking. So can you tell me the washing in the preparation of the grain for selling it and the washing by the consumer, are they both required? What is the difference, if any? What is this washing in the production?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, as these grains were, as the quinoa were coming from a lot of different farmers, and there was like the first washing step is for the, I can share my webcam. So yeah, it's more for the kind of mud and all these kind of debris that are associated with the quinoa, because there's actually a lot, and especially there in Peru, because as there's so many farmers that give their quinoa to this factory, they have no control on the quality of the grains that is coming in, and there's no washing step in the farms, because the farmers are small scale farmers and they don't have the facilities to clean the grains themselves. So this is why, especially in this factory, they had to have a really important washing step.
So then the consumer is still encouraged or even required to do a second washing before cook.
Yeah, I think I mean I don't know, I have no knowledge about the washing of the quinoa at home scale, because I don't feel like I wash my quinoa at home scale. But
it's even more than washing it. It's an actual soaking of the quinoa for a good 15 minutes. I mean, I cook a bulgur, rice, millet, many different grains in my own house, and none of them require this intensive soaking before the cooking.
It depends, I guess, also on steak.
I know a little bit about the washing. May I, like, yeah, because my girlfriend is from Ecuador, so she intensely consumes quinoa, and she taught me, like, you have to wash it because of the saponins. That's the compound that is needed to be reduced, because it's also good. It can prevent cancer, so it's good to wash it, to remove it, so that the threshold of the sensory is not longer achieved. But it's good that it remains a liquid, and it's more like soaking and washing. You actually have to stir it a little bit so that you get a foam, which is the saponin, and that's the thing that you have to discard. I don't know if that was the question or some.
Thanks for the insight. I think they try to remove the chaff of the quinoa where there's the most of saponins, but indeed there could be still saponins in the grain. So, okay, you're right. Maybe that.
Sorry, I couldn't listen to you, Maud.
Sorry?
Yeah. Can you repeat, please?
Oh yeah, no, you're right. They remove the chaff of the quinoa, like the kind of outside, to remove most of the saponins, but there's still residual saponins. So you could be completely right. Thanks, Jorge.
Yeah, and that's the reason you wash it and you get the foam out of it.
Yeah.
Janelle, did you have experience in with washing the quinoa when you were using it in the crackers?
I didn't understand.
Is Janelle still here? No, maybe Janelle
She
is not
should
here.
be here.
Is she there?
Otherwise, Christoph would like to make a comment. Christoph is from Actia. He's also a member of the advisory board. Christoph, you can. I opened your microphone.
Good morning, everybody. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to thank all the students' teams for their very interesting presentation. So I just want to make a comment that for some teams we have really a presentation of a project. So it's in that case it's very fitting. It's fitting with I would say our competition and sometimes it's more the presentation of a study, what you are studying, and education program. So I would just advise you to focus more on a project, a real project with research activities or with development activities, with of course different TR, different technical readiness levels, of course. Sometimes in close collaboration with companies, and not necessary, but I think you have really to focus on a project, even if it is not a big project, but a real project with outputs at the end. Even if it's not application on the market, but how you can make progress, how you can improve the situation from you are starting. It was just my advice.
Totally agree with you, Christoph, but the students here, they had the assignment to simply tell about a practical experience they had. So it was not, yeah, so in there, but I completely agree everything you said about the project that they are preparing for the final presentation of the competition.
Yes, it was just an advice to not forget this point. To really, of course, at the beginning, your project is not really mature, it's not precise, but just to not forget that we have really to focus then on a real project. It was just my recommendation. But of course, I agree that at the beginning, you can just, if you have not a good idea of your project, you can just introduce your background or your educational, I would say educational, yes, what you are doing as student.
Yeah.
But we have very interesting projects, on my opinion, and I'm very happy about what I hear.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any other questions? Do you have questions to each other's presentations, to the other experiences? It's a very international team composition.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
This is Eduardo from Kinapak. Hi. I would also like to ask a question to Mott, if she's still available.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, I'm Peruvian. So it was really interesting your presentation about your experience in Peru in this quinoa company. I just wanted to know to which countries because this was an export company, right?
Yeah.
To which countries was like the most volume going to?
So basically, this organization, Solid Peru Food, it's a Belgian organization. So the quinoa was exported mainly to Belgium. So it's a shop that a chain of shops which is called Colruyt, and they have a very big organic own brand, which is called Bioplanet, etc. And they propose this quinoa, and they actually sell a lot of this quinoa. So it's mainly for the Belgian markets.
Okay.
As there's links between Belgium and Ayacucho in this region.
And you also mentioned this washing step and to get rid of the saponins and etc. What was this company doing with those with that waste?
Well, they are at the moment they use it on the field, so they give partly back for using it on the field as a kind of material to cover the fields, but for the rest, mostly they throw it away. So this is one thing that we were actually discussing when we were in the factory, that they should actually utilize and valorize this waste of the chaff with containing the saponins, because it's an organic material that contains beneficial compounds.
Thanks for your answer.
Thanks.
Okay, so we have one written question from I think it's the SPEL team. Would you be so kind to clarify, should our suggestions be connected with improvement of projects or development of professional skills?
Okay, suggestions. So these are the suggestions for the student suggestion webinar.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say
you want to
your
answer,
suggestions. I will say, and you also please, that the suggestions are what you want to learn about. So we will take the suggestions and choose the ones that most of the participants want to hear something about. So this can be on a technical aspect, or it can be on something specifically related to your project, or it can be something in a consumer or marketing aspect, but it is a topic that you would like to hear an expert view.
That can help you in your development of your project. And then we will look in our network if we have experts on those topics, and they will then be covered in this student suggestion webinar in January. That's the point of collecting ideas from you where you think you have a knowledge gap that we can meet through our network that are members of the advisory board or in their networks also. So it can be knowledge related, can also be related to soft skills. It could be, I want to learn how to give a presentation. So it's very open, but related to this competition that you think I want to gain more knowledge on about a specific topic. I hope that, yeah, okay, clarifies.
Okay, good.
Are there any other questions related to the presentations or to the competition or to your projects? I don't see any.
Me neither.
Then, as we still need the last presentation of the last team, Amma Millet, we will keep the webinar open until they come. And if you cannot stay, that's completely fine. You can leave. If you can, you're welcome to stay.
I think we will just wait until 12:30, no?
Yeah.
Right, they said 12:20.
12, yeah, 12:20, 12:30, they said.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll just take a short break. And as I said, if you leave, that's fine.
But please, if you leave now or if you leave later, please fill out the survey about the webinar.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah,
I think
great.
Sorry.
Hi, so we have the last team here, Ama-Millet.
Yeah, we are the last team, Ama-Millet.
Great. Thank you for coming. Yes, thank you. We
Yes.
see you.
Okay, hello.
All right.
Hello. Sorry, we're just finished the practical work.
Very fine. So I will make you presenter. That means you can share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it now already showing?
Yes, it's showing.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
So you have 5 minutes, like the other teams, to do your presentation.
Okay.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So good afternoon. We are from Ama-Millet Group. We are gonna share 3 of our experiences in cereals. First of all, this is our team, me, Maria Francisca, and also Rakadet, and also Elsa Sapira Kinanti. And we will start with the experience from me. It's about the vanilla raisin cookies. I was joining as the quality control staff in the company. And what we have done, actually we are both in different company, and the manufacturer is our company's contact, and so they are our supplier in terms of the cookies making manufacturer. So what we've done in the quality control process, first we as the company receive the raw material in the form of oat and also wheat flour. And we, as the quality control, we should control the water content and also the color of the raw material. And then during the storage, we should maintain the condition of the storage. Like we should manage the water content by keeping it dry, and also the pest infestment and also the allergen management. So we should keep the oat and wheat flour separated from the other ingredients from my previous company. And then during the process, we also maintain the mixing process, like the speed, the time, and also the baking. We maintain everything inside the critical point, and then to produce the product with the good water content and also the sensory. So the tagline here, because it's not only about the ending, the quality is start from the beginning of the raw material until the product.
Okay, so for the second one, my project is about the job tiers ice cream. This is a project of me when I'm doing my bachelor. So basically, I will explain about job tier. Job tier is grains that have high in fiber, nutrition, and functional. Like it is good and well known in Asian countries. So this project is about increasing the fiber content in the ice cream by adding some job tiers into the milk-based ice cream. So about the formulation, I adjust the ratio of the whole job tier seeds and the grounded job tiers to accumulate in the ice cream. In the prototyping step, I make like several samples, variation on the content of the job tiers added into the ice cream, and I'm doing this sensory analysis with the panelists, and also analyze for some melting rate, the color or the microbial content, that when we add the job tiers into the ice cream, how it will change the physical and chemical property of the ice cream.
Okay, and then about my experience related to grains, it is about the wet-free noodles. So I was making a noodle based on the grains, cereals that is not wheat. So it is actually, oops, okay. Okay, I can just I'll explain. So it was basically based on the maize flour, So I made in my undergraduate, I made noodle based on the maize flour. So the basically technique is not because of the gluten come from wheat, but from the gelatinizations of the starch. So okay. So actually, I had like experience to make a noodle based on gelatinizations with extruder, and then I also made the sensory analysis, and then try to sell it to other consumers. And I saw that it is also a good opportunity for me and also for my team to sell a new way to make it more sustainable of noodle in Asia.
So to conclude, that we are experienced in quality control and also product development since our bachelor degree until our career as well. So we hope it has been explained in a good way for you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks very much. That was very good. Thank you. Okay, so I invite the Amamili team to view the YouTube recording of this, and you can see the short presentations of practical experience of your competitors. And also see, so we had some introduction in the beginning, some of the upcoming things in the competition, so you can see that also. So we will put the slides that Lina and I showed in the beginning, we will put on the website, and we will put the recording on the YouTube. Okay, Lina, anything else we have to say?
I think that's all.
Me too.
Unless there are any other questions to this last presentation, I think we can call it for today, and thank all the teams, all the team presenters. You gave a really good presentation, all of you, and it worked really well with the online presentation. So that's really great for us also. And yeah, I think
it was a good practice for everyone for the final competition when you will give your presentation of your project. Now you see how this platform works, and you see how to share your screen, and you can watch yourself in the video and see how to make the most of your presentation.
Yeah. All right, so the next time we see each other will be on the 3rd of December at 11 o'clock for the virtual visit webinar. Don't forget to send your suggestions for the student suggestion webinar by the 30th of November. You also find the details in the presentations, and yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, good. Okay, have a nice day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.